illegal is diverse, so for him that aspect is the illegal thing he did, which he's not so proud of at the end of that. So yeah, and then the next question was your biggest fear. Funny enough, I have a very interesting interviewee. He says he doesn't have any fear. He's always positive. Anything he wants to do, he sets his mind to it. He always achieves it. So yeah, it's really touching my heart. And also the next question was hope for the future. Yeah. He said his main hope for the future is to accomplish his dreams. And then dreams cut across everything. So for him, yeah, everything should happen. So for him, he just wants to accomplish his dreams. So if it's to build a country or in diverse ways, yes, it's part of his dream. If he is to be an aerospace engineer, it's part of his dream. If it's to help communities, it's part of his dream. So for him, yeah, he wants to grow into it, but I think I understood this point of view. Then,
but you asked him about his dreams, what his dreams are.
Yeah, I
specific.
know a few of it. No, not. He said they are diverse. I knew just he told me a few of it. The aerospace engineer.
I didn't tell you that.
No?
Okay, I know that already. So.
No, I mean, I'm just like speaking based on the interview like we had right now.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not as though you knew me before or something.
Okay, based on the interview, no, I didn't ask.
Yes, but if now you may had to make up an interview that is published, and you know some other things about him that he didn't mention during the interview, in Germany at least, you could write it down, use it, and you have to authorize it if it can be there in this aspect. So that's what you you can do, but you have to get his permission, because maybe it's wrong or he changed his mind.
And then the last one is there any, sorry, is there a person you really hate? Yeah, he said, so, as I told you, my interview is very, very
Peaceful.
yeah, peaceful. So I decided to add an additional question because the news were about to.
Did you ask him why there is no person he hates? Is hate something he doesn't feel? Is hate something, an ugly feeling? Was there never a situation that aroused some hate? Is hate the same thing like detesting somebody or wishing him to hell or her? That's such. So you can't go on like
Variant.
So the last one was the workshop. What's
Now be honest. She's ashamed to say the truth.
the workshop? The question about the workshop, how you enjoy the workshop, and he said he's with the interactions, he's been, open. The people he's met here, the things he's heard, the new ideas and all that, has urged him to do more. He really wants to go more and get to his dreams. He wants to achieve them. So this workshop has been a plantation.
Top. How did you feel being interviewed?
Well, of course, in the first place, because kind of like I knew what this was, I didn't really feel like this was a real interview.
Mm.
And, I just gave answers because I had to, because in actual sense, I wouldn't have given her the kind of answers she needed. I mean, I wouldn't have answered some of the questions like she asked. And so, with some of the answers I gave, I had to give because I had to like just say something.
So maybe you she could have you could have felt it and asked him if what he's saying is really coming from his heart right now.
Especially the fear and the
Yes.
hate, I was like,
Yes,
wow.
you can also during the interview you can question the whole situation you're in and being on another level then. Especially when you have the feeling it's an interview a person has given for hundreds and hundreds of times. The VIPs, they get the same questions hundreds of times, and then they let you know that this is not the first time that they ask this. Then you can talk about, I ask them sometimes, okay, about what would you like to talk, or why is this such a stupid question?
And what if the person just say, I don't want to talk about that? No, you're an interviewee. You
Yes,
have the
can
right
say.
to say,
Yes, you can say it.
I don't want to talk about it, like Michael Jackson did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I would ask him why. If he can, if I can understand why he doesn't want to talk it, because maybe it's too intimate or because he now has no whatever, then it's okay. But we could also discuss the topic from another point of view. But I would never just say okay.
Okay.
But that's what I said in the morning. If persons say, well, this is now off the record, I tell you something, but I don't want it to be published, either I know why or I ask why. I always ask why. That's, if you don't have any more ideas, why?
Yeah, but there are some instances, there are different kind of journalists. There are journalists we come up to you, with some, intention to bring you down. And as I said with Michael Jackson, because at that time Michael Jackson, I was reading, all the fake news and all everything, and then the journalist, asking that question.
Mm.
So what do you think of people, they know, they're saying, come on, because the journalist, he knows that Michael Jackson wouldn't want to talk about that.
Mm.
But actually trying to bring him down. But I think it's also part of the job and experience as a journalist, because those who like to interview people, like to know more about other people, and sometimes also like to sometimes ask tough questions.
Yes.
Trying to, it becomes sometimes as exciting, when you're bringing the person, But my question, it's a parenthesis where there are some journalists you see come just straightforward to bring you down. So what do you think of this kind of journalists?
Well, I think you have to be sensitive. That's what I said. I always ask myself, is this a question I would like to hear and I would like to answer? So I have to think about the person. And I think there are some situations when you are sent by the editor to make an interview with, and you think, oh, well, that's a person I'm not at all interested in. He has been interviewed for 100 times. What should I ask? If it is so, I think you should have the courage to say, well, maybe you should ask somebody else to do the interview. But usually I try to find an aspect of the person which I'm interested in, and I try to see him from another point of view. And of course, I also try to avoid cliches, and there are some obvious questions everybody is asking, and if I can think before, I won't do it. But some have to be asked, and then sometimes it happened that I said, I tell you what, this is now a super stupid question, but they asked me to ask it. It's the job. But it's within an interview that I liked, to make the person know that not everything I have to do here is my own point of view or interest. But it depends. I mean, everybody has his own view of this profession.
So in the morning we were talking about the responsibility of conservation. So in this case, because he's not a politician, so he's not able to answer the question. I mean, Michael Jackson, and I say no, he don't.
Well, okay, it's a difference. If you ask a representative of the political system a private question, he doesn't have to answer. But he has in a democracy, at least, he has the responsibility to give you information about the state of affairs, of what is going on. That's at least what he should do. If they don't want, they find other answers.
And
Example says better.
And sometimes when you are smart enough, the question is trying to avoid. So you can ask him in another way where he will be asking without knowing that he's even that question. And that's why maybe it's something that you wrote down here when you say great reporters are to be great listeners. You know, I mean, it's also part of being effective in the job as a documentarist or.
Yes, especially some of the routine persons, they learn that it's not necessary to give the answer to the question you are asked. You just talk, and 1.5 minutes are over. And that's what you can observe it on TV. Most of